Ever hear about a supplement and wonder, okay, is this stuff for real or just hype? Well, today we're doing a deep dive on PrimeGENIX DIM 3X. We've got their marketing materials, and we're going to break it all down.
Looks like they're marketing this as the solution for men dealing with those hormonal shifts that come with age. You know, like when testosterone levels take a dip and maybe estrogen starts to rise a bit.
Right, exactly. And they're saying DIM 3X is the answer, the best estrogen blocker out there. But before we get into all the claims, can you tell us what the science actually says?
Well, the key ingredient here is DIM, which is short for don-dolymethane. It's a natural compound, and you can find it in cruciferous veggies.
Cruciferous veggies, so like broccoli, right?
Exactly. Broccoli, kale, cauliflower, those kinds of things.
Okay, got it. Healthy stuff, for sure. But the marketing material says most guys aren't loading up on enough broccoli to really make a difference. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true that to get a concentrated dose of DIM, you'd have to eat a ton of those veggies, way more than most people eat in a day. And that's where the idea of taking a supplement comes in. The thinking is that DIM can actually change how your body deals with estrogen.
Interesting. Okay, so how does that work?
Well, it's not as simple as just having estrogen. There are different types of estrogen metabolites in your body, and some are considered to be more beneficial than others.
So it's kind of like good estrogen versus bad estrogen.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And what DIM is supposed to do is promote the good kind and minimize the effects of the bad. At least that's the theory.
So it's not about blocking estrogen completely, but more about shifting the balance in a more, let's say, favorable direction.
Exactly, and that's an important distinction. Now, PrimeGENIX claims their DIM 3X formula goes above and beyond just DIM.
Right. They talk about adding vitamin E and something called estrogen. What are those all about?
So let's start with vitamin E. It's an antioxidant. Most people have at least heard of it. And in this case, they're marketing it as a way to fight oxidative stress.
Oxidative stress. That sounds a little intimidating. What is that exactly?
Basically, it's about protecting your cells from damage. You know how free radicals can cause damage.
Right, I've heard of those.
Well, vitamin E helps with that. And by reducing that damage, it might help your body create an environment where testosterone production is at a better level.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not necessarily boosting testosterone directly, but preventing things from going downhill. What about this estrogen? It sounds like something out of a comic book.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful. Estrogen is actually a blend of two herbs, astragalus and panax nodoinseng. They've been used in traditional medicine for a long time. And what PrimeGENIX says is that estrogen makes both DIM and vitamin E easier for your body to absorb.
So it's like a sidekick, making sure those other ingredients work even better.
Exactly. Their argument is that you might take a large dose of DIM and vitamin E, but if your body doesn't absorb it properly, you're not getting the full effect. That's where estrogen supposedly comes in.
Okay, so we've got the rundown on what's in this stuff and what they claim it does. But the real question is, do those claims hold up? That's what we're going to look at next. When we start talking about hormones, it seems like we need to be extra careful, right? Like, do we really know what messing with DIM does to your body over a long period?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like with any supplement, you got to be careful, even if it is natural. It sounds like DIM has been studied, but we don't really know about long-term effects yet, do we? I mean, messing with your hormones is serious business.
Exactly. And it seems like PrimeGENIX is kind of promoting this as like a cure-all for every guy over 30. You know, weight gain, low energy, even mood swings. It's like they're saying, take this and all your problems will disappear. Sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it?
I mean, it's true that hormones can play a role in those things, but it's never that simple, is it? There are so many factors: genetics, lifestyle, stress. You can't just pop a pill and expect everything to be perfect.
So you're saying it's not a magic bullet?
Definitely not. And you also have to think about the fact that a supplement, even a natural one, could still have interactions with medications or, any health conditions someone might already have.
So it's got to be like a conversation with your doctor kind of thing before you start taking something like this.
Absolutely. 100%. Better safe than sorry, right?
Right. Okay, now one thing I noticed in their marketing is they use a lot of testimonials. Guys saying, I lost weight, I have more energy now, that kind of thing. But have there actually been any studies to back those claims up?
That's always the question, isn't it? Like, those stories can be convincing, but a personal story isn't the same as scientific evidence, is it?
Right. Just because it worked for one guy doesn't mean it'll work for everyone.
Exactly. Plus, you never know what else those guys are doing. Maybe they changed their diet or started exercising more. You just don't know.
So how do you separate fact from fiction then?
Well, the gold standard would be a large clinical trial. where they control all those other factors. That's really the best way to see if a supplement actually does what it claims.
And have there been any studies like that on DIM 3X?
They say their ingredients are clinically researched, but I didn't see any actual studies mentioned in the materials we got.
Interesting. So it sounds like we need to do some more digging on that. But even if the research is there, it seems like you got to keep your expectations realistic.
Absolutely. It's not magic. Like we were talking about before, a healthy lifestyle is still important.
Right, like no supplement can completely make up for a bad diet and no exercise.
100%.
Okay, one last thing I want to touch on. They offer a lifetime money-back guarantee. What do you think about that?
The old money-back guarantee. It's a classic marketing move. I mean, I guess it shows they have some confidence in their product.
Right. Yeah, like they're willing to stand behind it.
Right. But it's also a good way to get people to take a chance, even if they're on the fence about it.
True. So it sounds like you were saying don't put too much stock in it.
I think that's fair. A guarantee is great, but it doesn't mean the product actually works. You always got to do your research.
So where does this all leave us? Should guys be running out to buy DIM 3X?
Well, I think that's a personal decision. But the main thing is to be an informed consumer. Don't just believe everything you read.
Do your homework.
Yes, exactly. Look for solid evidence, read reviews, and talk to your doctor.
So it sounds like we're saying, look at the big picture. Don't just focus on one thing.
Exactly. It's about your whole lifestyle, really. What you eat, how active you are, how you deal with stress. Even sleep plays a role.
It's true. All those things matter.
Yeah, and supplements, even if they work the way they're supposed to, they can't make up for other unhealthy stuff.
Right, like you can't expect a pill to undo the effects of eating fast food every day. So let's say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, this DIM 3X, it's interesting, but I'm not sure. What would you tell them?
I'd say that's smart. It's good to be curious, but you always want to be a little skeptical too. Don't just believe everything you see in an ad.
Do your research.
Yes. Look for real information, read reviews, and talk to your doctor. That's probably the most important thing.
Because everyone's different.
100%. What works for one person might not work for another. And your doctor can tell you if a supplement like this is even right for you.
Right. They can look at your health history, any medications you might be on, all of that.
Exactly. It's always best to have that conversation.
Well, I think that about covers it. We've gone through PrimeGENIX, DIM 3X, looked at the good and the bad, the marketing and the science.
It's been a good discussion.
Always good to dig into these things. And remember, everyone, knowledge is power. Be informed, make good decisions, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.